Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're situated on this great, big, beautiful blue globe floating through the void of Yah's creation. It is the 28th of April, 2025, and as always, I'm calling out the legacy and mainstream media. You know what, folks? You've lost your credibility and your trust, and guess what?
You won't be trusted anymore.
Sorry, what goes around comes around. When you lie and lie and lie and lie and you get caught, well, you know what? Nobody's going to believe anything you say anymore. And this is why ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, Fox and Newsmax and OAN and Real America's Voice and all the other media out there, I'll tell you, they're all blowing smoke. And I don't care if they're leaning left or leaning right, they're all blowing smoke. You've got to do your own research and think for yourselves. Anyway, as always, I am Dave vonKleist. I'm hosting the WTF Reports. And as always, I humbly request that you visit our website and do business with our sponsors. And guess what? We got some merch now. Yeah, you can get a baseball cap, you can get a T-shirt, you get a coffee mug. It says the WTF Reports. We want to get this out there. And I'm here with the audio receipts. And this is, I'll throw in my own opinion occasionally, but I want you to hear from, get it from the horse's mouth, as they say. So if you want to condemn the messenger and ignore the message, well, that's a well-known methodology for people who want to avoid the truth. So anyway, that said, so many things going on right now. Well, first off, I don't know if you've heard, but over across the pond, Portugal, Spain, parts of France, and a good portion of Europe is without power right now. Their grid has gone down and absolute chaos is breaking out all over Europe. As a matter of fact, Eva Vladingerbroek, she put out a post to alert everybody of that fact. Here she is. Here's Eva.
Okay, I don't want to sound super alarmist here, but what the hell is going on? In Spain, Portugal, and parts of France, the entire electricity grid is down. Meaning, obviously, nothing is working because in our modern day and age, almost everything that you can imagine is electricity powered. Think traffic lights, think the airports, hospitals hopefully have generators, but imagine the sheer chaos that is unfolding in those nations right now and the lives that it will probably cost. What's going on? Is this a cyber attack or is it something as innocent as grid failure? Because if it is, it should make us think twice about the net zero agenda that is pushing towards full and total just electricity powered functioning of society, essentially, because they want to get rid of anything fossil fueled. Scary. This is Europe 2025. We should be a developed continent and 3 major countries have zero electricity right now. I hope this gets fixed soon because, like I said, we have to pray for the people there because chaos erupts very, very soon when everything stops working.
That's right. And if you think about it, I haven't seen it on the mainstream media. I've been scanning the bands here. Maybe they did do it, maybe not. There's a lot to scan. But I haven't heard anything about a massive electrical outage over there in southern Europe. But when you stop and think about it, this sort of blows holes in the net zero concept. They want everybody to switch over to electricity. Remember down in Texas a couple of years ago, they had a total meltdown of the electrical system? And you couple that with what's going on with the development of AI. Oh, yeah, those things need a massive amount of electricity to operate. And we're just not building up the infrastructure. And this leads me to a topic of conversation that I've had many, many, many times. Now, we know that the powers that be, the oligarchs, the elitists, the blue bloods, the deep state, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call it, they love their money and power. And they will do any and everything to obtain and maintain that money and power. That's what they care about. They don't care about peace. They don't care about people. They don't care about progress. They don't care about prosperity. They care about profits. That's what they care about. And power. Yes, I'm popping my peas on purpose. But anyway, that's what their mentality is. And that's all that they care about. And so they will suppress any technology that's going to threaten their power and their position. Got my microphone all wet on that one. But anyway, the point is, oh gosh, it's a Monday. It really isn't getting started. The point is that they want to maintain their power and their position. And they'll do any and everything they can to keep it. And this is why we've seen so many technologies suppressed for over a century. Now, we've heard many times about zero-point energy. I could play that audio clip I played last week from the Air Force general who was talking about new energy, zero-point energy. Now, the powers that be don't want that out there. They want to maintain their position. And this is why they've been pushing this climate change and global warming, and we're going to destroy the earth and the CO2 levels and all this other garbage. But there are solutions to these problems, okay? One of which is hemp. Now, I'm not talking about marijuana. I'm not talking about weed or cannabis. I'm talking about hemp. Hemp has been around for forever, okay? Our founding fathers wore clothing that was made of hemp. And they made ropes out of hemp. Hemp is a lot stronger than cotton. Cotton will give you one crop per season, whereas hemp can have 3 to 4 crops per season. Hemp is very, very useful. As a matter of fact, a lot of you folks may know, maybe you don't know, that Henry Ford manufactured a car that was made of hemp. Now, the hemp is as durable and as lightweight as fiberglass, and it's as strong as steel. And also, his hemp car ran on hemp fuel. Yeah. They can use hemp for building materials. They make hemp bricks that are basically indestructible. You can't burn them. They're a good insulator. They're strong. And you could be building houses out of hemp bricks. And hemp could be used for building all kinds of building materials. Hemp can be used to replace plastic bottles. But you see, they don't want to do that. They just don't want to do that. I mean, if we back up a little bit, if hemp can be used in the manufacturing process of automobiles, what's going to happen to the steel workers? Steel plants would be threatened, wouldn't they? If hemp could be used to manufacture clothing, well, gosh, the textile companies aren't going to be happy about that. And if you can make hemp fuel to run the cars, you're going up against big oil. So they don't want hemp out there. They'll all scream global warming and all that stuff, but they don't want hemp out there. Oh, and by the way, hemp will absorb CO2. Okay? That's what plants do. They breathe the CO2 and they emit oxygen. So they want to cut down all these, cut down the CO2. What's going to happen to the plants? These people are crazy. They want to cut the sunlight in the UK. They want to dim the sun. Get rid of that terrible vitamin D. Get rid of that sunshine. Yeah, get rid of all that sun that's going to, help the crops grow and all that. These people are insane. They're willing to sacrifice all of humanity to maintain their positions of power and profits. I don't know. I don't know. How do you fix that type of mentality? How do you straighten that out? So anyway, the point is here is that, Europe is now, what do I say? They're flapping in the breeze. There we go. They have no electricity in Portugal, Spain, and southern France. So how's that going to work out? Anyway, okay, that's one topic that I wanted to get behind me. and again, I can't emphasize that enough. The alternative energy sources must be released. And this is not a political thing. This has got nothing to do with conservatives or liberals or right-wing or left-wing or Republicans or Democrats. This is about humanity. I don't care where you sit on the political fence. The bottom line here is we all need to have food, shelter, clothing, and love. That's what we need. And we can obtain that if we can basically wrestle the reins out of the hands of these global maniacs. And get this zero-point energy released. Get the Meyer technology released. Get the magnet motors released. If we started tooling up for that now, maybe in about 5 years we could be independent. But we have to tool up now. And this is why, all these protesters, screaming about, climate change and global warming, and they want to immediately shut down all the fossil fuels and all that. Well, that's all well and good. That's all. But we have to have something to replace it. We have to retool. Once we have that other infrastructure in place, then we can move away from all of these terrible baddies. Okay, but we got to do that. Now, if you take that mentality, and I'm going to change gears a little bit here and apply that towards what's going on with these tariffs. Now, what's been going on, it's kind of scary right now, but the Port of Seattle, which is usually hustling and bustling with container ships that are loading and unloading, they've come to an absolute complete stop because of these tariffs. Now, again, these are one of those things that Trump is doing that I'm scratching my head saying, wait a minute, wait, slow down a little bit. I'm not in disagreement with the tariffs. I think that's a great idea. But at this particular moment in time, we get 95% of our pharmaceuticals from China. Think about that. You impose tariffs, immediately make it difficult for them to do business. They're going to say, okay, well, screw you. You don't get your pharmaceuticals anymore. Oh, but wait, I didn't mean it like that. We got to have our own infrastructure in place. Yes, I mean, it was 30 years ago, Billy Joel did that song about Allentown. I'd like to play it, but the algorithms won't allow me to do that without getting a strike on my account. So that was the song, yeah, we're working here in Allentown, but they're shutting all the factories down. That was 30 years ago. Okay, so they shut all the factories. They outsourced all this manufacturing overseas to, so they could maintain their profits. And in the meantime, we have lost our entire manufacturing base. That's why they call it the Rust Belt along the upper Midwest. So all the factories are closed. Everything's being manufactured overseas. I mean, just go into Walmart or the Dollar General and take a look at how much stuff is made in China while you can. Bottom line here is that if we had the manufacturing here, great. Then you can do the tariffs and all that type of stuff. But slapping all these tariffs, now there are going to be shortages. You watch. You'll see what's going to happen. So there are going to be ramifications. Now, tariffs are not such a bad idea. They're not a bad idea at all. As a matter of fact, Hillary Clinton was touting tariffs way back when she was running for president back in 2016. As a matter of fact, here, I'll play this clip. This is Hillary back in 2016 talking about tariffs. Here she is.
After all, Trump talks about it all the time. Well, let's start with this. It is true that too often past trade deals have been sold to the American people with rosy scenarios that did not pan out. Those promises now ring hollow in many communities across Michigan and our country that have seen factories close and jobs disappear. Too many companies lobbied for trade deals so they could sell products abroad, but then they instead moved abroad and sold back into the United States. It is also true that China and other countries have gamed the system for too long. Enforcement, particularly during the Bush administration, has been too lax. Investments at home that would make us more competitive have been completely blocked in Congress. And American workers and communities have paid the price. But the answer is not to rant and rave or cut ourselves off from the world. That would end up killing even more jobs. The answer is to finally make trade work for us, not against us. So as president, I will stand up to China and anyone else who tries to take advantage of American workers and companies. And I'm going to ramp up enforcement by appointing, for the first time, a chief trade prosecutor. I will triple the number of enforcement officers, and when countries break the rules, we won't hesitate to impose targeted tariffs.
My. Isn't that something? Yeah, she won't hesitate to impose tariffs. Yep, funny. 9 years ago, and now everybody's against Trump because he wants to do the tariffs. I want him to do the tariffs. I think that's a good idea. But we should have something to back up, because when you impose tariffs, they're going to cut off those goods. So we got ourselves into a little pickle here. And the hypocrisy, oh gosh, that's the word of the day. Hypocrisy. Yes, the hypocrisy is insane. As a matter of fact, let's go back, in as much as we went back to 2016 and just heard Hillary talking about the benefit of having tariffs. Well, let's go back and listen, to Liz Warren. Now, this is sort of unrelated because she's obviously been screaming about Elon Musk and, how bad he is, and we've got to stop him, and we're going to fight back. Okay, well, listen to Elizabeth Warren. First, we'll listen to her in 2009. Here she is.
When that much money disappears, it's usually because somebody broke some laws somewhere. But if we don't look, if we don't ask, if we don't uncover it and make it all public, we'll never find out.
That's right. We'll never find out. Thank you, Elizabeth. You're absolutely right. Back in 2009, she thought that, we need to find out where all this fraud and waste is going. However, today, it's a different story.
Elon Musk wants everyone in America to be at the mercy of Elon Musk.
That's horse hockey. Oh, by the way, pose for the photo op.
Here to fight back.
Yeah, well, she was all for it back in 2009, and now she wants to fight back against it. Yeah, okay. Let me see. How much more hypocrisy can we find? Here's AOC talking with Anderson Cooper about judges. Now, I'll get into that. Let's go ahead and move towards the judges issue. Yeah, because I realize I'm sort of all over the map here, talking about climate change and talking about alternative energy and hemp products and electrical outages. These are all puzzle pieces, and they all do fit together, believe it or not. Anyway, here's AOC talking with Anderson Cooper about judges.
That I believe that the Biden administration should ignore this ruling. I think that the courts have the legitimacy and they rely on the legitimacy of their rulings. And what they are currently doing is engaged in an unprecedented and dramatic erosion of the legitimacy of the courts. It is the justices themselves, through the deeply partisan and unfounded nature of these rulings, that are undermining their own enforcement.
So you're saying the Biden administration should ignore this court, but what does that look like? What does that actually mean?
I think the interesting thing when it comes to a ruling is that it relies on enforcement. And it is up to the Biden administration to choose whether or not to enforce such a ruling.
Interesting. Under Biden, it's okay for Biden to ignore a ruling of a district court or a judge. But if it's under Trump, oh my gosh, it's a whole different story. Can you see it? Can you hear the hypocrisy? As a matter of fact, here's Chuck Schumer, and back in 2020, and then I've got another clip, a recent clip from 2025. Here's Chuck Schumer on the same topic.
And they're taking away fundamental rights. I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions.
Oh boy, he was raising holy hell there, wasn't he? He was pissed off at those judges for making those decisions. Oh yes, you're going to release the whirlwind. That sounds like a threat to me. Anyway, that was back in 2020. Now, fast forward to 2025. Hey, Chucky, what do you got to say about that now?
They're trying to intimidate judges. This is not the first time or the second. They've said they want to impeach judges. They said they're going to go after judges who don't agree with them.
Okay, stop right there. Chucky, you're on the record. You forget that internet is forever. That's what you were doing. You were trying to intimidate and threaten judges back in 2020, but now you seem to think that's okay?
That is so against the Constitution. What Trump, Biondi, and the whole Justice Department are trying to do is push that judge, threaten that judge, so the judge is no longer impartial. It is outrageous. You cannot have a democracy without an independent judiciary, and they're trying to clip the wings of that independence.
Interesting, isn't it? Very interesting indeed. Yes, hypocrisy seems to be the word of the day. Anyway, I tell you what, we're coming up on 25 and a half minutes past the hour. So what I'm going to do is open up the phone lines. I got a couple more things I want to get to, but you, dear listener, come first. Yes, you do. So if you don't want to belly up to the telephone bar, now's the time to do it. Area code 215-867-8255. I encourage participation on this broadcast. Whether you agree or disagree, it makes for good conversation. So come on, give us a call. 215-867-8255. Okay, now speaking of, you just heard Schumer about wanting to release the whirlwind against the judges. Well, I hate to say it, liberals, but you did lose the election, okay? And you preached democracy. Democracy, yes, we have to have a democracy. Well, you got your democracy, and this is what you get. Now, we had 4 years of Biden, and we had all kinds of horrendous things happen to this country, and not to mention the immigration situation. And I'm sure you heard about the huge bus that was in Boulder, Colorado over the weekend. I'll get to that maybe. But, we just heard Chuck Schumer wanting to go after the judges, and he's also made a couple of other very interesting statements in the past couple of weeks. And, he wants to go after. If you're conservative, they want to be in your face. They want to make your life miserable. And as a matter of fact, Governor Pritzker in New Jersey recently made the following presentation. And, I guess the libs just don't understand what democracy is all about. If they can't have their way, then they're going to go out and raise holy hell. Here's Governor Pritzker.
Never before in my life have I called for mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption. But I am now.
Wow. Take to the streets, he's telling people. Yeah.
These Republicans cannot know a moment of peace. They have to understand that we will fight their cruelty with every megaphone and microphone that we have. We must castigate them on the soapbox and then punish them at the ballot box.
Yeah, you want to castigate them, punish them they must not know a moment of peace. Yeah, right. And listen to the lemmings all cheering. I mean, this is where they're leading the liberals, the Democratic Party. If you don't like what's going on, if you lost the election fair and square, well, guess what? We're going to go out and make your life miserable. You're going to castigate these people, get in their faces, get their megaphones, make their lives miserable. Boy, so much for their tolerance, right? Yeah, so much for their diversity. Yeah. Yeah, they just don't like that. But again, they just don't realize it because they are hypocrites. As a matter of fact, there was a young woman who found an audio. It was part of a video, audio clip from 1943. And I thought at first it was G. Gordon Griffin, but I was wrong on that. But anyway, give a listen to what this young woman had to say about this.
We've been watching history repeat itself, and this is proof. Watch this.
In 1943, the following directive was issued from party headquarters to all communists in the United States. It read, "When certain obstructionists become too irritating, label them after suitable build-ups as fascist or Nazi or anti-Semitic, and use the prestige of anti-fascist and tolerance organizations to discredit them. In the public mind, constantly associate those who oppose us with those names which already have a bad smell. The association will, after enough repetition, become fact in the public mind."
1943 predicting exactly what the left does today. And it doesn't stop there. In 1971, just about 30 years after this video took place, another communist named Saul Alinsky wrote a book called Rules for Radicals. In this book, he said, and I quote, "He who controls the language controls the masses," end quote. This is not a new tactic for the radical left, but it's so crazy how much this 1943 video and directive to communists resembles what we see today in 2025.
No kidding. No kidding. History is indeed repeating itself. Yeah, if you control the language, you can control the society. And how many new words and genders have we come up with in the past decade? I don't know. Anyway, going to take a quick commercial break, and I'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Get More Tank will save you money every month on gas. Get More Tank is a tablet with active ingredients that adds big mileage to every tank. Made in America, the Get More Tank formula is used by trucking companies and heavy industry. Now the Get More Tank formula is available to you. Get More Tank works in any gas or diesel engine, cleans your engine, lowers emissions, and you'll feel improved engine performance every time you step on the gas. Get More Tank works for cars, trucks, boats, motorcycles, four-wheelers, mowers, and blowers. Hey, if you got an engine, then Get More Tank. Contractors, electricians, plumbers, painters, and lawn service companies, Get More Tank will save you money and extend the life of your engines. If you're an owner-operator running your big rig around the town or across the country, Get More Tank will save you money too. If you're a farmer, all of your equipment can use Get More Tank. A 5-pack on sale at GetMoreTank.com for just $22.22 plus shipping. Use the promo code RedPill101 and get 10% off. Save your money, save your engine, save the earth at GetMoreTank.com. Get More Tank is EPA registered, doesn't void warranties, results vary.
And you can get more tank if you visit our website, the WTF Reports. Don't forget the word the, T-H-E, the WTFReports.com. Visit our sponsors page, and there you will get a 10% discount on Get More Tank. It'll cost you $20. You'll get 5 of those tablets, 1 tablet per tank of gas. Once your engine is accustomed to it, you will find between 15 and 20% increase in your mileage, and when you hit the gas, your vehicle will go. It's good stuff. I wouldn't be hawking it if it wasn't. So go to our website, thewtfreports.com, click on the advertisers page, and get more tank. You'll be glad you did. Also, you might want to check out the Wave Watch. I was just talking to John Banber. His mom is the person who designed and thunk this thing up using Rife technology that you wear on your wrist. And this thing is pretty doggone cool. Can you imagine a Rife machine that you wear and you don't have to hold on to electrons or sit in one particular spot? You just go about your business and you're using Rife technology. So, hey, check it out. I think you find it very interesting indeed. So, okay, that said, we get back to the matters at hand. Oh, and a quick reminder again, if you want to join the conversation, I encourage that you do so. I love to hear from the listeners out there, whether you agree or disagree. Give me a call, 215-867-8255. That's 215-867-8255. That spells out Top Talk. Anyway, okay, we were talking about hypocrisy. And hypocrisy, it's not hard to find. Not at all. Not at all. And as I mentioned before I had that little commercial break, there was a huge bust in Colorado over the weekend. And over 100 people were arrested. And yes, they were Tren de Agua, they were MS-13. And yes, there were some active duty military in there as well. There were 300 police officers and ICE agents that descended upon the scene, and it was huge, huge. All kinds of drugs were found. There was prostitution going on, and the illegal weapons. It's a big, big, big mess. And thanks to the past administration for making it all possible. Opening up the borders and letting millions and millions and millions of people across the border. Thank you so much, Democrats. Yes, it's just, you made your own bed, right? Well, it's funny because, Barack Obama had very, very strong words about immigration when he was running for office. Yeah. The word of the day is hypocrisy. Here's Barack Obama.
The Bush administration, has done nothing to control the problem that we had. We've had 5 million
let me try that again. Sorry.
Undocumented workers come over the borders since George Bush took office. It has become an extraordinary problem. And the reason the American people are concerned is because they are seeing their own economic position slip away. And oftentimes, employers are exploiting these undocumented workers. They're not paying the minimum wage. They're not observing worker safety laws. And so what we have to do is create a comprehensive solution to the problem. Now, I have already stated that as president, I will make sure that we finally have the kind of border security that we need. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is to take on employers. Right now, an employer has more of a chance of getting hit by lightning than be prosecuted for hiring an undocumented worker. That has to change. They have to be held accountable.
They have to be held accountable. Interesting.
Nobody's above the law.
Whoa, wait. Stop. There we go. Okay. So, again, if it's under the Obama administration or a Democrat leadership, it's okay to talk about these things. So I don't understand why people have to make everything a political football. It's not right versus left sometimes. It's right versus wrong. But they take the, for example, okay, we are so politicized in this country. If I give you a description, and I think I did this on Friday, I'll do it again. I'm going to describe a fruit, all right? It's yellow. It grows on a tree. You peel it to eat it, and monkeys like to eat it. Okay, now can you guess what kind of fruit that is?
It's a banana.
That's right, it's a banana. Now, was that a liberal description or was it a conservative description? It was neither. It was just a description. Okay? But we are so politicized right now that if conservatives scream that murder is illegal, then the liberals will say, legalize it. They're so politicized. It's insane what's going on. And getting back to this issue about judges, there was one more clip here of hypocrisy that I wanted to share, and this is Rachel Maddow. There's a clip from 2023, another one from last year, 24, and one from this year. You want to see how quickly they flip and they flop according to the political winds. Here's Rachel Maddow flipping and flopping.
Nobody's above the law. We only have one system of law for everyone. Nothing about being an elected official gives you a license to commit crimes or a license to get away with it if you do.
Okay, that's a statement from 23. Now, move up to 24.
Why step up politically and defend a judge or a prosecutor? That's supposed to be a non-political part of our system.
Right. Ooh, okay. That's an interesting statement, but it doesn't apply today because Trump's doing it, right?
It's not like we didn't know it was going to be terrible, and it is terrible. He really did have a judge arrested today. Arresting a judge today. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, not kidding you. Well, the thing is, the mainstream media is not telling you the whole story about why that judge was arrested. They're not telling you the whole story about that guy, that Maryland father who was deported back to El Salvador. They're not telling you the other sides of the story. They just tell you one side of the story depending upon the political climate, the issue of the day. They don't want you to know any of that stuff. And as far as, removing these judges and prosecutors, well, I want to remind you that the president of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele, when he took power, he cleaned house. And now El Salvador is one of the safest countries in the world. How did he do that? I quote, "We had to remove corrupt judges and corrupt attorneys and prosecutors," unquote. Yes, that's what he said. And then yesterday he said, quote, "If you don't impeach the corrupt judges, you cannot fix the country. They will form a cartel, a judicial dictatorship, and block all reforms, protecting the systematic corruption that put them in their seats." So, yes, we do have corrupt judges. As a matter of fact, I remember I saw an audio clip, or I saw a video clip of Chuck Schumer bragging that under the Biden administration, they installed 235 liberal judges. Now, judges are not supposed to be liberal or conservative. They're supposed to be neutral. They're supposed to be blind. That's why Lady Justice has a blindfold on. And that's why she's holding up the scales, because you're going to judge based upon the facts. But you see, that's not the way it works now, because the judges have been politicized. And yes, it's on both sides of the political aisle. That's got to stop. Now, this judge that was arrested over the weekend, or last Friday, whenever it was, she did some really dastardly stuff. The ICE agent was outside of the courtroom ready to grab this guy because he was an illegal alien. And she basically ushered him and the prosecutor out the back door, which is illegal, through the judge's chambers or the jury chambers, and got them outside. And then that resulted in a foot chase to chase down this immigrant. Now, this is what she did was illegal. But of course, the mainstream media is not telling you that part of it. They only tell you what's going to fit their agenda. And this has got to stop. Our country is going down the freaking tubes. And meanwhile, out in California, I mean, people, oh man, people are really starting to lose their minds out there. I mean, they're now passing laws. It seems that the liberals, Democrats now, they're more concerned. You know, they don't care about the victims of crime. No, forget them. Forget them. As a matter of fact, if you remember when President Trump gave his joint address to Congress in March, and the Democrats, they wouldn't stand for Laken Riley's mom. No, they wouldn't stand for that kid that defeated cancer. No, they wouldn't stand for any of that stuff. But they sure as heck stood up when they found out they were going to give more money to Ukraine. That, you know, I just don't get where these liberals are. But in California, God help you if you're living in California, because they're passing laws out there to protect the criminals and to basically, you know, leave, you know, the regular citizens, leave their butts exposed. Anyway, here's Sheriff Bianco. He's putting out an alert to all the people in California. And I think he's going to be running for governor. He ought to run for governor. Get rid of gruesome Newsom. But anyway, here's Sheriff Bianco.
Hello, California. Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco. For more than a decade, the leadership in Sacramento has literally tied the hands of law enforcement and made it almost impossible for us to protect you. Now, they are coming after you and your ability to protect yourself. Under a new bill, AB 1333, by California Assembly member from Santa Monica, Rick Chavez Spur, you will no longer be allowed to protect yourself when confronted by violent criminals. Under this bill, if a criminal attacks you or your family and you defend yourself, and that criminal dies as a result of his criminal behavior, you could be arrested and charged with murder. Now let me make this very, very clear. You have a constitutional and a God-given right to protect yourself. You actually have that right under California law. But our California Democrat leadership and Assemblymember Spur say no, you don't. It is time we stand up to this insanity in Sacramento. I am asking all of you to contact your local elected officials in Sacramento and tell them that this bill needs to be removed from the assembly floor. Contact Assemblymember Spur's office and demand this bill be removed. Californians deserve far better than what we are getting from our Democrat leadership and our assembly members and senators in Sacramento. We demand better. We deserve better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think this is a clear demonstration as to why so many people are leaving California and going to the red states. And I didn't have it prepared here, but I do have an audio clip from the one of the sheriffs in Florida that comes flat out and says, if somebody breaks into your home, you have our blessing to take them out. And you can take that any way that you want. It leaves them with less paperwork and less things to do. So, I mean, what a difference the left coast and the right coast are making. Excuse me. Anyway, there's a good reason why people are basically not just walking away from the Democratic Party, but they're running away because they've gone absolutely bat crap crazy. And again, there are a lot of these issues that are nonpartisan, but they are being politicized. I mean, you shouldn't have to even have a debate on whether or not you get to defend yourself. If somebody breaks into your home and is threatening, is a life-threatening individual, either aiming a gun at you or a machete or a knife or something, you have the constitutional right to defend yourself. It's as simple as that. And for somebody to put a bill in California says that you can no longer do that. If somebody breaks into your house and is threatening you and you pew them, guess what? You could get charged with murder. No, I mean, everything is backwards. Oh, by the way, you know that the kid that killed the other kid at the track meet? Their names are escaping me right now. Of course, the perpetrator, the kid that stabbed the other kid and killed him, okay, he's got all kinds of people defending him. Well, guess what? A video has surfaced, and it was a basketball game. And the perpetrator, the kid that stabbed the other kid, he was in this basketball game. He knocks one of the opposing players to the floor and then head stomps him. I mean, the kid was unconscious. He was just laying there. I don't know if he was unconscious or he was or dead. I don't know. But that gives a clear indication as to what kind of person this is. And the liberal Democrats are out there are defending him. And they're giving press conferences. They're not even acknowledging the family of the kid that was killed. Now, what is wrong with these people? I mean, there's something seriously wrong with them. I mean, it is extreme Trump derangement syndrome or conservative derangement syndrome. When are people going to say, hey, wait a second, we see that this country is in a big mess. We all have to come together and fix it. And as long as we fight amongst ourselves, it's not going to happen. But, there are powers out there that benefit from the conflict, benefit from the division, and they will do any and everything they can to foment this division and hatred and anger and frustration. I saw an audio clip, a video of a protest that was going on in California, and this guy was going out, he was interviewing people who were protesting against Trump and against the conservatives and Musk and all that. And he came flat out and he says, why exactly are you here? What is it that you're so upset about? And there was an older couple, and they couldn't come up with one reason. First, this guy, he asked the wife, he says, can you tell me exactly what issue is it that has brought you here? And she says, oh, well, there's so many, I can't even think of them. And then she turns to her husband and she says, here, you help me out. You sort of caught me on the mouth. I mean, if these people are so PO'd, you'd think that they would have all of their grievances on the front burner and they would just spew them out if they were asked. But they couldn't think of anything. They were just there because they're triggered. Triggered how? By watching MSNBC and CNN and ABC and CBS and NBC and all the legacy media out there that is just basically banging the drum for division and hatred and anger, etc., etc. And it just seems that people can't think for themselves. And then, of course, there's the guy on the street. You may have seen him. He's posted all over social media. He goes out and he asks people very simple questions. What country is the Panama Canal in? And people go, I don't know. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing at your own ignorance? What? Oh, yes. What countries border the United States? I don't know. Isn't it funny? Yes, you're stupid. That's great. That's really funny. And then there was another audio clip of a teacher, a substitute teacher, who went into substitute teach a class, and he was absolutely shocked because the students had very little knowledge of math, history, science, literature, anything like that. Oh, but they know who's playing this weekend. Who's in the playoffs. They know all about their Hollywood stars. They know about the new movie that came out. They know all that stuff, but they don't know how to do basic multiplication. And of course, all the people out there saying, hey, look it, we got to get rid of the Department of Education. It's a total, absolute disaster. And all you need to look at is the past couple of generations. And I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sorry for the younger kids that are out there, the younger generations. You folks are victims. I'm not upset with you. It's not your fault. But somehow you've got to pick yourself up by the bootstraps and get yourself educated and find out what the heck has really been going on, because you're a victim of a very, very devious, deliberate dumbing down. And that's been going on for decades. I remember back in the 90s when I was with Joyce and we were doing the Gulf War Veterans Association. And then we started the Power Hour radio show. A regular guest on the show was Charlotte Iserby, and she wrote the book, The Dumbing Down of America, or The Dumbing of America. And this has been going on for a long, long, long time. And don't think for one second that it wasn't deliberate. Of course it was deliberate. Even George Carlin pointed that out in one of his comedy skits. The powers that be don't want critical thinkers. They want obedient workers. That's why when you go through the public education or indoctrination system, you're basically taught to memorize, repeat back. When you're doing a test, or doing a project, don't consult with anybody. Isolate yourself. You're not supposed to work and work out ideas and have debates. No. Here's the information. You memorize this, and then you repeat it back. And that's what the public education system is. And for those of you who are defending the public education system, I just want to know why. Why are you defending the public education system, the Department of Education? I screamed about that years and years ago. And again, the analogy, if you hire somebody under contract to do a job, at the end of the year, you review their work. Now, if they're doing a good job, then you renew the contract. If they're doing the job you want done, yes, you renew the contract. If they're doing a real screwed up, crappy job, you fire them. So we apply that towards the Department of Education. It came into being, it was in 1980, I think it was, 79, 80? And the United States was number one in education around the world. Well, the Department of Education comes in, starts working out all the academics for all of the schools, and what do you know? The next year we fell to number 3. Was that doing a good job? Well, apparently so, because they just kept on rolling. Another year goes by, and the United States falls to number 5. And then it falls to number 9. And then it falls and falls year after year after year. And now out of a field of 40 rated countries as far as their education, the United States, I believe, is right at the bottom. Last I checked, it was 38th. So all these years, the Department of Education is doing, obviously, exactly the job that the government wants. They want an uneducated populace because they're easily manipulated. And the proof is in the pudding. Look what's going on around. People can't think for themselves. They're triggered and they don't know why. Anyway, I don't mean to get off on a soapbox about this, but it's not like yours truly hasn't been screaming about this for decades. For freaking decades. I wrote songs about it. As a matter of fact, let me see here. I'm going to pull one up here. Let's see. Which one? I'm going to play one of these tunes. Let me see. Music to Die For. Okay, yeah. Okay, here's one. I'm going to play this. That'll take us up to the end of the show. Wrote this one about 25 years ago in 2020. Yeah, that's 25 years ago. Enjoy.
Opinions expressed by our numbers that grow may tell you some things that you don't want to know. You can say that we're crazy, you can call us a name, but unless you do something, the result is the same. For unknown generations, we've been living a lie. While some struggled for truth, many others stood by. Is the spirit within you? Do you think that you'll try to look for the answers and ask your lawmakers why? So come on, America, join in the fight and resist their corruption with all of your might. You can hide in the darkness or stand in the light. No, your God won't be with you till you do what is right. We continue to trust such a small group of men who have robbed us before, and they'll do it again. Yes, they worship the dollar, the silver, the gold, and they haven't a soul. It's already been sold. And they say that we're liable, and they say that we owe, and if we don't pay their tax, off to jail we will go. But we've checked out the law, and we've studied their code, and when it's all understood, not a penny is owed. So come on, America, don't hesitate. We must all stand together before it's too late. So many before you were willing to die, and if you sit and do nothing, your children will cry. And they created a villain, they say he's the one who's destroying your freedoms, and a war has begun. But the ones with the power legislate every day, passing laws that are taking your freedoms away. And to all those in uniform, please understand, we're not clenching our fists, we're extending our hands. You can ask any veteran, he'll tell you it's true that your Washington leaders don't care about you. So come on, America, now is the time for exposing their fraud and uncovering their crime. If we sit and do nothing, we forever will be to blame for the fall of our liberty. If we're to be honest, if we're to be just, we must live by our motto, in God we will trust. You don't have to believe, and that is your choice, but opinions don't count if you don't raise your voice. Now the time's finally come, we must all take a stand and tell your brothers and sisters, help them all understand that your freedom's been stolen, the line's crossed in the sand, and if we turn from the wicked, he'll come heal our land. So come on, America, join in the fight and stand up to the tyrants with all of your might. You can hide in the darkness, you can stand in the light. No, your God won't be with you till you do what is right. If you love your country, you'll join in the fight and stand up to corruption with all of your might. We won't hide in the darkness, we'll stand in the light. Yes, our God's truly with us, 'cause we're doing what's right.
Yeah. That was 25 years ago, and the message still stands today. Folks, we've got to turn from the wicked, and he'll come and heal our land. Yep. All right, that's going to wrap it up for today's Monday edition of the WTF Reports. Again, I humbly request that you visit our website, TheWTFReports.com, and do business with our advertisers. That's what we do to keep the lights on here. Anyway, that said, I'll be back tomorrow with more of the news that they hope and pray you never hear. I'm Dave vonKleist. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon and an evening. God bless you all. Stay free. That's the key. God bless you all.
Understanding that there's no place to run. See the faces turn white as the people unite. Watch the roaches take flight as you turn on